Okay, the next video is going to be about drop spins. This is the most basic element that we can do in color guard that involves actually spinning a flag. So in order to do a drop spin, we're going to start at right shoulder. So remember, left thumb is wrapped, your right thumb is along this pole, and that becomes much more critical now that we'll be spinning. Because if you try this yourself and you wrap that right thumb, you'll notice that if you try to move the flag, there's a little bit of play in the flag. Like the flag just sort of moves, but by putting my thumb up here, I have much more control. So you really want to make sure that that thumb is along the pole. So to do the drop spin, I'm going to release my left hand, bring it down to my left. Now as I grab, I'm going to grab with my thumb down. So I usually have students pretend they're shaking their left hand and then turn the thumb down, and then they grab beneath the right hand with that thumb down. So now both of my thumbs are down. I don't allow either of them to wrap because that's going to cause a lot of problems in the long run. So both of my thumbs are down. So as I do this again, I start here, I bring this down to my left, I turn my left hand upside down so that my thumb is down, and I grab underneath. Now that's another part that students oftentimes don't understand where to grab it, so they have to grab with the entire hand underneath, like that. Now from there, I'll release my right hand and simply bring it up. And then I grab with my right hand underneath, but I grab it with thumbs up. So I usually tell the students, as I do this, if the silk is down, the thumbs are down. If the silk is up, the thumbs are up. So I add a little bit of technique to this. As we come down, one of the hardest parts is the initiation, or how we start the movement. So the movement, if you're going to be down on count 1, we'll start on count 8. So it'll be 5, 6, 7, squeeze the pole. They must squeeze, 8, and. I have the students go right here on 8 and, flat and in front of the arms. Because then that puts it in a good place to be in count 1. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1. And I'm down and grabbing my thumbs down on count 1 as close to my belly button as I can get. Students oftentimes will be up here. It needs to be down here. That requires a certain amount of wrist flexibility, but that's where it needs to be. So once again, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1. And then count 2, straight up and down. Let me show you from the back here. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2. And then we continue 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, some common student problems that we often have. As they spin, you may see this happen. And as you see me spinning over and over again, you're going to notice that the silk is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And that is a really common problem. And what's happening there, as they spin, they are turning their wrist like this, and then they turn this one, and they bend the wrist. And then they turn and they bend, and that just causes the silk to roll up, which is why I always force students, and I recommend that you find some way to force students to keep those thumbs visible. Because if I come down, as you can see from here, thumbs down, if I can see my thumbs, then I'm not bending my wrists. If I can't see my thumbs, one way or another, then I am. And it happens most often as they take the hand off the pole. So they're usually fine here, and then they have to see that thumb as they bring the pole up. If they can't see the thumb, one way or another, it means they are twisting that wrist and they're going to roll up that flag. I've also experimented with stickers on the side of the pole, so if they see the sticker, they're not bending the pole or the wrist. So you want to be aware of that. So if I were to do 8 drop spins, they should look 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now on the end, I just did a stop. which you don't have to do, but if you have time to teach your color guard, it's nice to make a clean stop. 7, this would be your normal 8. All you do instead of coming here is just slide your left hand up to here. Again, box out your arms and your chest. So it would be 5, 6, 7, slide 8. And that gives you a nice stop. I've also encountered students that like to do what I call the chicken wing. So they do this as they spin, which just is really bad for all of their musculature. It's just bad for them. And obviously it doesn't look as good. So we want to make sure that normally I'm encouraging them to be boxed out as we do things, as we stop, boxed, but while we're spinning, our elbows should be in, like this. I've even had students hold shoes in their elbows to force them to keep it in, and then when you take that out, it normally stays in place. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you.